Hello, friends. Another day and another expression of materializing what we choose to bring into our experience. I would like to talk today about the health. I know that there are viewers who have a main concern of body well-being, physical health. If this is the first video you're seeing, my particular journey is that I am materializing wealth into my experience. So my daily practice is focused on that. The principles, however, remain the same no matter what we're manifesting. I just want to dedicate this one particularly to physical well-being and health for those individuals for whom this is a main focus, as opposed to wealth. I mean, I want all of you to be fabulously rich, and all of us, there is more than enough in the universe for all of us to be. We are fabulously rich, I should say, but there is more than enough for everyone to have everything that they want, and this is the actual fact. And the reality, the physical reality that we see around us, the persistent things that the society will tell us are reality are actually an illusion. It's really important to keep this in mind. I realize that for most people this would be utterly ridiculous, but it is a fact. It is a fact that what we see around us is merely an illusion, and the reality is what we create. And our minds and our energy is infinite. We are infinite because we are of the infinite. So the first thing I'll do before doing anything else is to say I am supremely grateful at this moment as I stay in state. I am grateful for the wondrous and magnificent blessings for which I am allowed to enjoy, that I enjoy. And I create my reality every moment. I create my experience. It starts in our thought. Sorry, I'm a bit clumsy, but I just wanted to make sure, and I have to choose my words very carefully. This is an important, this is a central principle. Choose every word, every thought very, very carefully. It doesn't mean you have to panic if you have a bad thought or a shitty word or something like this. It's not that. It's that your conscious application for yourself in your constant experience is that you choose your words with absolute attention, intention, and care, and you only say what you desire, and you only focus on what you desire, and you only focus yourself on the fact that you are infinite. We are infinite. Again, so you have a bad thought, it's human. We have 60,000 thoughts a day. It's fine. The point is that your direction, your constant practice is to put yourself in that state. And that is where the miracles exist. That is where your power is. I don't like to use the word miracle, because the word miracle implies the concept that it is some impossible thing, and that it is not normal. And the thing is that, as a matter of fact, for the infinite, unlimited universe, for our infinite existence, everything is in our power. There is no such thing as miracle, because miracle separates us from everything, and we are not. We are one with everything. So today, with the focus being on doing this practice for your health, for your well-being. Okay, so my friend, my darling friend, who has asked me to keep these to 10 minutes, I apologize, but this probably will not, I won't be finished at the 10-minute mark. I'm sorry. I try, but these are principles that need the attention. So there's a man named Morris E. Goodman. And Morris E. Goodman is someone who people like to call the miracle man. But I'm not doing that. What I'm going to do is just refer to him as his name, Morris E. Goodman. He understood fully, deeply, profoundly, knew deep down that he is an infinite and that his infinity begins in his mind and in his spirit and in his being. And we express our being with our emotion. We express our being in simply being. We express our being in our thought, in our expression of our self. This is the deep state, the central state of simply being. So we all understand this. This is something that we can easily understand. The status of being is something that I may not be able to explain. There may not be words to quantify this, but we all understand what it is. So that being is the fundamental, and he understood this. And his story is such that he was in a horrific plane accident, and to the degree that it literally crushed his body. And the only thing remaining, he was pulled from the wreck and he was brought into intensive care, and the only thing he could do was blink, and his mind still worked. And they were able, and fortunately the medical people who were caring for him were available enough to do the actions of communicating with him in whatever way he was capable. So they realized very quickly that he could blink, and his mind was fully functional, but the rest of his body had literally been crushed. His diaphragm had been crushed, his lungs had been crushed, his entire body was non-functional, literally. So they put him on a bunch of machines. They had a tracheotomy for him to breathe. They had, machines for his lungs. They had a thing for his diaphragm, literally everything. And according to conventional medical wisdom, which is not, and this is why I'm doing this. I'm really on fire about this, as I am on fire about the fact that I know that my authentic self is fabulously rich, and that I know that I am creating that with my thought. And as far as time goes, I cannot predict any time, but I'm not worried because I stay in state. I am absolutely on fire about this. Your well-being is your infinite power to create. I realize this may be a stretch. It may be hard. It may be that you say this is utterly absurd, and all of the proof I have from the doctors and the hospitals and the endless medicines and the endless procedures and the endless, treatment, all this stuff. I realize that this is very powerful and persistent, forceful and loud things, right? They're all very loud and forceful and persistent, but I'm telling you, I promise you, this is not actually fact. This is illusion. And this man, Morris Goodman, is only one proof of millions. He is only one proof of millions, but his story is very powerful. And so since I can't tell millions of stories, I will just share this one with you. He was in the hospital, and by conventional medical wisdom, he was a vegetable for the remainder of his existence, except for one thing. His brain still worked, and he could blink. And so the medical staff went with him to communicate with him by assigning numbers of blinks to letters. And so they were able to communicate with him and have conversation because he could blink letters, and they would write the letters out, and then they would communicate. Okay, so he told the staff, by blinking, he communicated with the staff the following. He was brought into the intensive care 8 months prior to Christmas. It was 8 months prior to Christmas Day. And he said when they brought him in and he was communicating with them, at whatever point, right, he was conscious and communicating with them, he said, I will walk out of here on my own on Christmas Day, is what he said to them. And they looked at him and they were like, ha! It's fucking ridiculous. You're a fucking vegetable. You're still conscious, so you're not a full vegetable, but it's hopeless. There's no way you're getting out of these machines ever. There's no point at which you will ever live normally again. This is what they said to him, right? He would be on machines for the remainder of his existence, for as long as they kept the machines on. This is what it would be. So he said to them, no, I will walk out on my own on Christmas Day. And 8 months after that, on Christmas Day, he walked out of that hospital on his own feet. Feet that were crushed, a body that was crushed, a diaphragm that was crushed, lungs that were crushed, an impossibility to even breathe on his own. during the time that he was in treatment, some of the experiences he had were as follows. At one point, one night, he said he heard in his mind or his ears or whatever, just the words, breathe, the instruction to breathe. And so he did. He just began from his mind, which is from whence everything comes. The infinity of the mind is the infinite. We are infinite because our mind is infinite, because our spirit is infinite. We are infinite. And from that place of infinite power, infinite, he breathed. He breathed. He didn't do it by some sort of concept of will, or the concept of forcing, or the concept of insistence, or anything, because all of those things are energies of resistance. He simply did by allowing. The instruction was breathe, and he did. And the medical staff came to him the following morning, and there was no one who could. They were like, we cannot explain this. There is no of the limited of the knowledge that we have, which is limited. Okay, this box of knowledge that we have, where we rely only upon the physical reflections, the physical reality such as it is now, which is merely a reflection of past thought. It's not even, it's not a part of the infinite at all. It is a past reflection. This thing that we're looking at now, that we're saying it's reality, it's reality, it's reality, it's the facts. It's an illusion, and it's a reflection, and they, with their limited abilities such as they were, this is not to diminish medical people, because that's not the point. The point is that we must understand that we are infinite, and that the medical community is not in, they are limited. And so by their limited ability and knowledge, and they, all they could say was, we cannot explain this. We cannot explain how he is breathing today, because we would say he will never breathe on his own. This is what we would say, we the medical staff. With our, unfortunately, years and years of study, we are still limited. And this is the powerful thing. So I want you to know, for those of you who are struggling with your well-being, who feel a sense of separation from well-being, you feel you are here and wellness is here. You are here and you say to yourself, I am not well. I am physically limited. For those of you who are in this state where you say, I have to have a machine, I have to breathe with a machine, I have to have a thing stuck in my chest, I have to have whatever it is, I tell you, I know this from the deepest core of my own being. And let me tell you that from my own experience, the obstacles, the physical reality obstacles that I face now are truly crushing and utterly terrifying. And if I thought about them and focused on them, they would truly kill me. So by the same token, though my, what I need to manifest is different, because it's not a question of my physical body's health. It is a question of my well-being, just something else. It just is something that I am manifesting the wealth that is required into my experience, that I am being the person who is wealthy, and thereby in my infinite state of being, I am wealthy, therefore the wealth flows through me. So for you who are dealing with your physical experience at this time is mostly with regard to some physical well-being, health, body thing. You are infinite. You are infinite. And within you lies all of your well-being. And it is you who create it. And so I want to say that I want you to start from a place of being willing to see this. Start from a place of being willing to allow this into your understanding. If you can do nothing else, then start from a place of saying, I am willing to allow this into my understanding. Because what I want you to progress to the point of saying is that I am the creator of my well-being, and I no longer associate myself with that breathing machine. I no longer identify with that apparatus. I want to help in whatever way I can you to get to a point where you arrive at the point where you say, I do not identify. And the universe doesn't understand not. So don't say that. I identify only with the absence of this apparatus. I identify only with the absence of this machine. I identify only with the fact that I breathe completely and fully and freely on my own. I identify only with my absolute strength, well-being. I identify only with being thin and muscular and fit. On a persistent, constant, and unrelenting basis, I identify only with the magnificent good health, strength, fitness, well-being, full power in my body. That is all I identify with. That is my identity. I am infinite. And so if your starting point is only that I am willing to be that person, I am willing to be identified that way, then please, I implore you to make this your daily practice. I implore you to make this your daily, constant practice, because I will tell you that I am the living example of it, doing it for myself in this other way. The financial obstacles that I face are truly fucking terrifying. But it is not where I identify only with being fabulously rich. I identify only with complete fulfillment and abundance. I persistently identify with those things. I am infinite. I bring it into my experience every moment. And I have shared some things with you. I have received raindrops. I have seen raindrops happen to this point. I will say this. An interesting thing occurred to me this morning as I was doing some of my scripting practice. Some of my scripting practice is that I write checks every single day. I write some checks to pay all of these giant things that need to be paid. And I write other checks that are amounts of money for which I have bought a ticket to win. So those checks I write to myself, and then the bills with the specific amounts I write to the to whom the money would goes, to whom the money goes, goes. And so part of that scripting, so in that scripting, as I was writing the checks to the bills, it occurred to me that I had a moment of seeing that it's working. My reason for saying this is that my electricity is still on, even with the arrears being what they are, so high, just like impossible. I have not received any, and I will only say this once because I do not focus on this, because where you focus, energy, where you focus, energy flow. Where focus goes, energy flows. I have not received any eviction paper, and yet I did not pay the rent for this month. And the arrears are off the charts. Off the charts. $60,000 in arrears on the apartment. Okay. The other bills, same thing. So I still have my gas service, even though the arrears on that are utterly ridiculous, just insane, obscene. Now, I have paid them some, but so it occurred to me as I was writing these checks that, and there are some other checks as well, it occurred to me that though those have not yet in the physical reality been paid in full, though that money has not yet crossed my hands in my physical reality as of this moment, those other events have not happened. And so it occurred to me as I was writing these checks, okay, so this is working. Or that it is manifested. It is manifest. It is manifest. Why would this even matter? Or why would this make sense? Because we cannot comprehend the means by which the infinite within us satisfies what we are creating. We cannot devise the means by which the infinite within us, of which we are a part, and it is within us, manifests what it is that we are creating. The how is not my domain. It is not your domain. How is beyond our human ability to comprehend. The how, there are a multitude of possibilities for how what it is that we're creating becomes manifest in our experience. So I'm not worrying about how. I'm not thinking about how, because how is beyond my ability to comprehend. It is beyond our ability in our physical body to truly, I can't comprehend the millions of variations that are possible. I cannot comprehend them. So I don't have to worry about that, though, because all I have to do is focus on the fact that I am infinite and I am a child of the infinite, and within the infinite, all already exists. So it was nice to be sitting there doing this scripting, and I had this feeling of, oh, how interesting, with that concept of the fact that I don't know how it is manifest. I just not knowing how, but it, again, that is an irrelevant portion. I don't need to concern myself. You do not need to concern yourself. It is manifest. It is done. It is complete. By your thought, by your infinite connection, by your identifying yourself as, by your self-identification, it is manifest. Be blessed.